So there's a lot of work and a lot of interest in New Hampshire about having GIS used in the classroom, but one of the things that I'm going to talk about is from my perspective and also from where I work at UNH Cooperative Extension's perspective. How have things been going and maybe where do we see the future? And part of the idea, of course, of using geospatial technologies in the classroom is that, yay, you just get people with GPS units and they walk around in the woods and it's great, which is nice, but then how do you make that translation of getting teachers to understand how to use it in the classroom, not just walk in the woods? There's a Geospatial Technologies Training Center at the university. It's a partnership between Cooperative Extension, New Hampshire Granite, and other folks that has been teaching geospatial workshops since 1999. And one of the early workshops that we did was this community mapping, which really focused on having people learn how to use GIS, but specifically either towns for natural resource inventories or teachers for incorporating it in the classroom. And since we had this one or 2 week course in the summer, when I took over this job in 2006, I've been trying to teach as many different workshops in as many different areas as I could, whether it's a teacher gathering on a lake or in a conference, to try to get people to understand the importance of the technologies, but how also you would use them. One of the good success stories is that we've been doing this for so long now that some of the teachers we trained, in fact, my first class I ever did was community mapping in 2001. And Ina Ahern here is an example of a teacher who took it, is using it, and is now helping train other teachers in the state. So a lot of the effort has been focused on this New Hampshire Educational GIS Partnership, which is a whole bunch of different people, but the 4 most active groups and sort of the founding groups are Fish and Game, Department of Ed, Hampshire Geographic Alliance, and UNH Cooperative Extension. And one of the things we tried to do is figure out how could we get rid of some of the problems, and one of the things we did was arrange for a state site license for the entire state of New Hampshire that any K-12 school or informal program could have access to the online version and the desktop version. And the online version, if you haven't used it, is really amazingly powerful, not only for sharing information, but even conducting analysis and really doing GIS, which is a lot different than just necessarily making a map. Like with Google Maps, it has a few points that you can click on. So in this effort, we've done a lot of work to try to spread information to teachers. We have some summer spatial institutes starting in 2013, which are 3-day, very specific teacher workshops in the summer. We've taught 29 of those over the past few years. We collaborate very often with the the Northeast ARC Users Group, which is the professional GIS user group for the region, and help in a GIS Educators Day. We've been doing that for the past 7 years. No matter where it's located, there's always a contingent of folks from New Hampshire. Also, we have had 13 teachers participate in the awkwardly named Teachers Teaching Teachers GIS, or the T3G Institute. Ezra's not great with names, but this is a really good training for teachers who want to get involved with mapping. And one of the cool things is we've been looking at programs like the New Hampshire Fish and Game Wildlife Ecology Institute program and taking GIS from a fringe topic and incorporating it into lots of things, including looking at the fish that they found when they did electroshocking in the river. And of course, the point of all of this is trying to get teachers, and these are all teachers here, figuring out how can they get engaged and interested in using mapping in their classrooms. And part of it is getting them all together because, as you know, that some of the interactions they have is really important. And also, how do you take this and use it effectively out in the field? Everybody has smartphones. Not everybody, but 200 million people in the US do. And how do you make sure that those aren't just distractions, but they could potentially be tools that students could use for collecting real data? One of the cool things about ArcGIS Online is it's fairly easy to share data. And in the fish program that through the Wildlife Ecology Institute, they're now getting school districts across the state to compile and compare and share some of their data. And also, in addition just to making maps, now a lot of ArcGIS Online is being used to tell stories. So if you want to know more about story maps, show up here in a few hours. But this is not just maps for maps' sake, but maps for communicating information. So out of all the work we've done in the past few years, these are the number of school districts that currently at least have an organizational account through ArcGIS Online, which is a key feature. Do they all use it? I don't know. Some of them do. But one of the future directions that I'm going in is trying to get GIS as one of the topics in a new program that Cooperative Extension and the Leitzel Center are starting, which is UNH STEM docents, and training people who are available to go into classrooms and support some of the teachers. And this is the second round of STEM docents will include GIS as one of the topics. So to know more information about what's happening in the Educational GIS Partnership, you can go to nhedgis.org, and my contact information is down here.